What is good, guys? It's Ray J back with another video. And in this, I want to break down what's happening with Tesla, SPY, Nvda, the QQQ, and a couple of other tickers. I'm going to break down what's going on with the technicals for the stocks, what's going on with big news involving the markets, what you should be watching for as time progresses. But before I begin the doubles information, before I get into any more details, let me just mention a couple of things. Firstly, I am not a financial planner. Make sure you take nothing I say as financial advice. And also, if you guys can, please check out the Weeble link, which is down below and in the description. If you sign up for Weeble and deposit $500, you're guaranteed 20 free stocks. And the offer ends very soon, in just about 12 hours from now. Anyways, when it comes to Tesla, I just want to say we have this nice little uptrend that's being established right here. Tesla is attempting to push a little bit higher, but we'll be watching this resistance as we get closer to 185. We'll see if Tesla can break this or not. Now, on the 4-hour time frame, Tesla is building some strength. It does look like it wants to push a little bit higher, but it's getting kind of tight in this range. So we could see an attempt to go higher as we approach resistance, but we'll see if we can break it or not. So I'll break down more details about this over the next couple of minutes. First, let's talk about some data. As a reminder, we had Waller from the Fed giving a speech. Waller is known for not being too hawkish, kind of like in the middle, a little bit more on the hawkish side. The market is still holding up despite that. And then at 10:30 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, we have the Dallas Fed Manufacturing Index report coming out. And at 11:30 a.m., we have the 3-month and 6-month bill auctions. So we have these two pieces of data. Watch for volatility 1 hour after the market opens, and then 2 hours after market open, just to be safe. Then we have Dally giving a speech, which shouldn't cost too much. Dally is known for being in the middle, so there's not really any massive pieces of data coming out today. Everything is quite minor. There is some news coming out that the S&P 500 dipped 0.16%, on Friday, but still registered a 0.6% gain for the week. Overall, still showing some life. But it is worth knowing that the trend could be shifting, at least from here. There's been a lot of talk right over here about how bank regulators said on Friday that they found weakness in the resolution plans or living wills of 4 of the 8 largest American lenders. So that's something very, very important. This is once again showing weakness in their not only their credibility, but also in the event of like distress and failure, they once again are going to be in more difficult places, especially with these interest rates. So that's what I'm seeing right now, as we're seeing more and more shifts to their portfolios and also more and more weakness. So something that's worth noting. There's been some talk right over here that Target is shopping for new brands. And then besides that, Nvidia is also in a very, very important place. Its valuation surpassed that of Microsoft last week, making it the largest company in the world by market cap. But despite that, we have to once again watch key resistance levels on the stock, as it's been pumping very, very hard. That is it for the main pieces of news for the markets. Just notes that for earnings, we just have Money Hero coming out, and then later on we just have something minor. We have FedEx on Tuesday, and then the earnings season will kick off very soon. Now, there's some news coming out for Tesla. Tesla's hiring an insurance executive to help further reduce costs for drivers. They're also going to lower the total cost of Tesla ownership and accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. That's amazing for Tesla, because when you look at this, many investors have really accepted and really liked the tax credits of up to $7,500 in purchasing their EV. But on top of this, Electric has reported that clean energy and the automotive company Tesla intends to make EVs even more accessible by reducing insurance costs. So that's something very important. So that's why they hired a former Geico executive, Alan Labin, to help basically offset a lot of these costs. So that's something very important for Tesla, and I think that could be very useful for them. There's also been a lot of talk about how Tesla's staff is down 14% at least so far, and there could be even more layoffs in the future. But once again, we'll see how that goes. And there's also more talk right here that some analysts are now anticipating some bad deliveries reports for Tesla. We'll find out in about a week from now when we get the Q2 deliveries reports. Anyways, for the time being for Tesla, we're still getting kind of tight right over here. We are kind of attempting to push. If we break this resistance right here, I'll be looking for a test of around this 185 area. If that breaks, then I could see 188. But Tesla is looking very tight and a little choppy during this pre-market session, but I do see some potential for it to try to push a little higher. If we end up losing 182.5, look at 180.5 as support, and then 177.9. These are the 3 supports right here. You guys can see them. And overall, Tesla's still holding up decently. So if we lose 180, look for a dip down to 177. And if we end up breaking past 185, I'll be looking at 188 as resistance. As of right now, it looks like Tesla's going to attempt to go a little higher. So I could be looking for 185. And we'll have to watch that resistance. If that breaks, look for 188. So I'm seeing a little potential, but I think Tesla will see a lot of sideways price action. Like it pumps and then comes back down, trades sideways. That's the most likely possibility. For SPY, The 4 hour of SPY is still showing some weakness. We got a nice push all the way up to this, basically this important level at 545. But here are some levels worth noting, just to be very frank with everyone. If SPY were to get bought back up and we break past 545.8, then yes, we could come back up to fill this gap. Today, during the pre-market, we touched 545.8 only to reject, so it's showing some weakness right now. If we lose 544, we'll be looking for a dip all the way back down towards 543. So that's going to be very, very key. Make sure you watch 544. If we lose this, I'll be looking for a dip to even lower levels, and I'm seeing some weakness on SPY, at least still. So it's looking a little bit weaker. If we lose 544, expect more downside. I will be watching to see how well this holds. If SPY starts dipping, this actually could be a little negative for Tesla, so that kind of opens the doors for us to just push a little bit. We could actually test 185, and we'll see if we get a rejection or just a lot of sideways price action as well. So I am starting to anticipate that Tesla will try to push a little bit higher, but then we could end up kind of slowing down, just consolidating a bit. So watch that very carefully. Look for kind of like a push and a dip back down and some sideways price action for Tesla. So make sure you watch that. For the QQQ, I'm seeing something very similar to that of SPY. So the QQQ is showing a lot of weakness right now too, and this could actually be a little negative for Tesla as well. To me, it looks like the QQQs are going to eventually come down to about 474. I am seeing a weakness on the charts. Watch resistance around 480. It is showing weakness. If we lose 478, I think we're going to be coming all the way down to 474 or lower. So there is weakness on the triple Q. For Apple, Apple's also in a bit of a downtrend right here. It did touch my target of 206. I did call that out yesterday, and we did touch that. Could we rebound a bit to 208 and then reject it as possible, but the trend is more bearish on Apple. So even if we do get a little bounce, we could just continue to sink, and then that could lead to even more downside. If we end up losing 206, there's going to likely be a bigger dip all the way down towards 204. But I think that there's going to likely be a continuation lower as we have this downtrend approaching. So look for a little rebound and a continuation lower as the most likely possibility for Apple. Still looking a little bit more bearish. Nvidia is also looking a little weak. We failed to hold support at 125. So this could easily start dipping down towards the 120 support. So I'm seeing some weakness on Nvidia. It's still looking very weak right now. This could drag the market lower. Going to be looking for it to get very close to 120 now, and we'll see how well that holds up. The resistance at 125 and 129. If we lose 120, we'll be tipping all the way down here to previous resistance, becoming support around 116. So I'll be watching 120 and 116 as two key supports if we end up losing the current level. Besides that, guys, just a few more. Just want to call out Supermicro. This is also looking more bearish. Going to be looking for a dip all the way down to about 880. If that fails, let's watch 861. If we break past resistance at 892, look for 900. But overall, there is some weakness. For the IWM, excuse me, guys. IWM, we have resistance at 201. It's still shuffling. We could retest 201 to 202, then reject back down. Look for a little pop and drop is a very strong possibility. For Coinbase, Coin is continuing to fall right here, forming a double top leg structure. It is looking more bearish. I'm going to be looking for a test of 214 and eventually all the way down to 210. So I see a little bit of weakness potential. For Amazon, I was anticipating a bit more upside last week. We are still in the green right now. But watch 190. We could test 190. We'll see if we get a rejection off that or not. If we do reject, we could be dipping back down to 186 just temporarily. So we'll see. But I do see a little bit more upside potential before it tries to shift. For Meta, we have 500 as resistance. We'll see if we can try to close above this or hold it. I think we might test 500. We'll see if it rejects. If we get that rejection, we could come back down to fill the gap at 494. If we break 500, we'll be continuing to push. But overall, we're going to likely kind of pop in and drop. I'll be watching that as well. Also, when you look at GME is also kind of dipping a bit towards the 22 area. We'll see if we get a bounce or not off of this, but overall, GME is still showing a little bit of weakness. So I'll give that a little bit of time. There is some weakness as we approach support, and AMC will likely fill this gap down to 4.34. Anyways, that's it for the video, guys. I forgot to mention Bitcoin. Bitcoin is still looking more bearish, guys. We actually lost 62,500. So we're going to likely approach this support over here around 60,000. I do think Bitcoin's going to dip even more, so just be prepared for that for the time being. Anyways, that's it for the video. Thank you all so much for listening. Tesla could push a little bit higher. Maybe looking for that test of 185, and we'll see if that breaks. And if that breaks, we could go up to 188. But then, even if we do pump a bit, we could actually return back down because of the market potentially slowing, and we might see a lot of sideways price action on Tesla. Just wanted to make that very clear. Take care, guys. I'll see you guys very soon on the next one. I appreciate all of you, and peace out.